Hi guys, how are you? Hey everybody, we're back with our favorite attorney. Don't we love Ronald,
We
Freddie?
do. He all, he says it how it is. He gives us the facts. He doesn't mess around, and that's exactly, I think, what we all like.
We do. Thank you for coming back.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
We have so many questions because this Erika thing is getting quite complicated, and we just need help figuring it out. So, can you explain? Was there another bank account found, or Tom?
Well, there's a lot of different bank accounts, but there's a Western Alliance Bank subpoena that was just ordered, and what you saw yesterday was trust account records that have been accumulated and then tied in with checks that have been traced to case costs, which were masqueraded as a subterfuge for jewelry purchases.
Go ahead, Freddie. Wow.
So this $750,000 diamond earrings that Erika was gifted in 2007 by Tom. So her attorney, Evan Borgs, has claimed that she did not know that these were bought with stolen money, but she's apparently not wanting to return them, or is trying to claim she's cooperating as a form of goodwill. What type of prison sentence could we see Erika getting if she doesn't cooperate? Because that is a possibility.
Okay, let's clear up a couple things, because so much happened so quickly that it was even hard for me to keep up. I mean, we had so many people writing us, including Erika of all people, and then I spoke to her attorney last night, but I'm not going to get into the substance because we have a relationship. But a lot of confusion here, and what you have to realize is his opposition to this motion wasn't even due till February 5th. I'm going to go to that hearing because I have court that day anyway, in front of the same judge. So if they keep the hearing, I'm going to definitely be there. But this is what happened, because a lot of times attorneys try to protect their clients. So yesterday was like the biggest damage control I have ever seen, because the fact, Freddie, that you just said something about innocent and she didn't know is exactly the narrative that her attorney wants you to focus on, and not on really the legal issues. I found it so funny that he kept saying, doesn't the law mean anything, when his statements have nothing to do with the theory of liability as to why she can't get earrings bought with someone else's money. So let me just unpack this really quickly and break it down for the viewers, and then you can follow up. I won't be loquacious. In this type of case, all the trustee said is, look, here's the trust account. Payments were made to clients, and instead of giving them this much of the pie, you gave them this much because you said there was a case cost of $750,000 in the form of a check, that instead of deducting it and not deducting it and giving the clients the bigger pie, you gave them a smaller pie, and basically lied to the IRS and to the clients and said this was a case cost, like an expert or a consultant, which is a whole nother story. Some of these consultants that Girardi paid should have never been paid either. So Erika can't then get jewelry if it was bought in a fraudulent or misappropriated manner, because no title passed to the jewelry, because it was bought with money that wasn't properly spent. You understand that concept?
Yeah.
Okay. So like if I give you a Rolex, but I stole the money, you don't get to keep the Rolex, even if you didn't know that it was stolen. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now all that happened is the trustee did an A+ job of showing a simple concept. Earrings on ear were bought with fake cost deductions. That's it. We don't care what Erika knew. No one cares if she knew. And Evan made this look out to be some sort of, or let me not use his name, her attorney made it out to be some sort of guilt or innocence thing. If you had to prove knowledge, she would get to keep everything. Okay, because knowledge, how do you prove what's in someone's head unless it's circumstantial? But that's not what we're dealing with. We're just dealing with who owned the asset, how was it purchased. So what happened is her PR people said, you gotta fix this. Richards is tweeting this thing like crazy. TMZ picked it up. I broke the story on this one, so I don't care what anybody says. Everybody copied my tweets on this for sure, because they were rushing to get it out, and that's okay. But what happened is that when this story broke, they wanted her lawyer to put something in the record that was damage control. So he came up with a legal theory. Hey, this was 15 years ago. You can't ask for the money back now. It's too far. So, it's past the statute. That's not a bad argument, but the trustee already addressed it in the moving papers. And that was, well, we can't sue for something we don't know about. This was hidden and concealed, so the statute doesn't run yet. And that's going to have to be fleshed out. But what was more important from this whole situation with the earrings was that in this rushed response, he admitted Erika has the earrings, which was a blunder of the highest order, because one, there was no discovery, there was no declaration, and he's busy telling the judge, I want to take discovery, but noticeably missing was any declaration from Erika Girardi, because he doesn't want her to be deposed. So I don't know what he was thinking, because he now has said, I have the earrings. He could have said, prove that I have the earrings.
Mm-hmm.
There was no evidence in the motion that 15 years later, Erika had those earrings.
Mm-hmm.
It was unclear as to what earrings we're even talking about. Wow. So that's the problem. But now it's not an issue because he's conceded that she has the earrings. So to me, I think the trustee will go forward with the turnover unless they're happy leaving it with an escrow.
This is a petty question. The picture that they showed on TMZ that they got that from you. So I was following it in real time. You did break the story because I seen it came on my feed and then they did it later. Is that the real earrings, or is that just an example of, just for the story?
Well, she's worn a large set of earrings on various shows, and so we think that's the earrings, but we don't know. We just took earrings that look big. Yeah. That was it. I mean, there was no science to it. There's a couple different photos followers sent us that follow us at Ronald Richards. They sent us the pictures, and we were able to utilize them.
Go ahead, Freddie. Sorry.
So in terms of this, because this whole jewelry thing could also potentially be considered as a form of tax fraud, I believe, as well. So do you think there could be repercussions for Erika as a result of that?
Well, she's already has some tax issues that were open, but no, I don't. It's not about Erika's lawyer likes to make it all about Erika. It's really about was her glam purchased with misappropriated funds or funds that were the result of a tax fraud? If that's the case, then she has to return that property unless there's a legal reason why it's too late. I mean, that's always been the issue. And then she further complicates it by saying, well, I own part of that law firm, but I don't want to acknowledge any of the debts on the books that say I owe the firm $25 million. That's when I said you can't have it both ways. Either if you're going to claim ownership, you're stuck with the liabilities. You don't just get the assets. What kind of world are we living in?
Yes, I saw this. This was crazy because wasn't this where you put that tweet up of Erika basically saying that she was still refusing to hand over the 25 million she's stolen? But how has Erika been able to work out that she has an interest in Girardi Keese other than the fact that she's been married to Tom?
Well, there was never a prenup. she does have a community property interest because
Hmm.
Girardi Keese was Thomas Girardi. There's no, her contention is it was what's called a sole proprietorship. It was just him doing business as Girardi Keese. That's an issue that's been raised in the courts. So if that's the case, she has a community property interest in the law firm, and she's entitled to the assets. But what she keeps ignoring is she also has the liabilities, and so her lawyer overreached and filed a claim for her, which is always a bad idea. Now he's a witness under penalty of perjury, saying that she wants reimbursement for any legal fees or losses. So basically, he's saying the estate should pay the $25 million because it was the Girardi CEO's fault and other people's fault that she owes it in the first place. I mean, a very complicated argument that, in my opinion, has very little success.
There are being reports, Radar Online are saying that the walls are closing in on Erika. What do they mean by that? Is things just getting increasingly more difficult for her case?
Well, if you remember, I knew this was going to happen. That's why I wanted to settle with her, because the more time that comes by, the more things come out of the woodwork. I mean, yesterday or in Chicago, they dismissed the case against her and said they're going to refile against her in LA. So now she's going to have the turnover order. The lawsuit from Chicago is going to come here. The $25 million fraudulent conveyance, where she thinks she's getting a jury trial, but she's not, because you don't get one on fraudulent conveyances. You just have to return any assets you've received that you didn't give any consideration for. So I don't know what they're doing. I mean, the more time that goes by, the more everybody gets invested, and it's hard to put the Humpty Dumpty back together again. So that's why I'm glad that I'm unshackled and I can say whatever I want, and I'm not wasting, another 500 hours while Erika goes through her legal schizophrenia and figures out what she wants to do. Or, her benefactor keeps writing the checks and her lawyer's glad to keep defending her. I mean, that's the other issue. When you're on defense, if someone's paying you top dollar, why do you want to settle so fast?
Yeah, go ahead, Freddie. Sorry.
So obviously you mentioned on Twitter the other day that Erika was making a claim against the Girardi Keese trustees because of the legal fees and the damages. But you did say that it wasn't, from what I understood, it wasn't going to be dismissed, and that she was just going to be another person seeking claims. How come that wasn't dismissed when evidently she's got the money from Tom already, being $25 million?
You mean the lawsuit that I filed against her originally? Which lawsuit are we talking about?
I'm talking about the claim that she's made to the Girardi Keese estate.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, that claim, it can't be dismissed. You can't dismiss a claim. You could only file a claim objection. But there's so many bogus claims in there, like the original claim that the petitioning creditors made. Some of them were making claims for attorney's fees they say are owed because they had to file a case somewhere else, or consulting fees. I mean, not all these claims are good, but no one's going to waste their time moving to object to them until like the end. You don't do it now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, why waste time getting rid of Erika's claim today?
It makes sense.
There's a lot of meritless claims in the estate.
Can I change over to Jen Shah, Freddie?
Yeah. Can I just ask one more question, and that is about David Lira and Keith Griffin. So obviously there was a court case with them in Chicago. Do we have any updates on what's now happening with them as of yet?
The judges, there's briefing in that court. The judge has ordered the attorneys to provide information, and he's going to make a ruling.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have no interest in commenting on anything to do with that case because it's already before the court. It's kind of in my rearview mirror. I don't want to have Twitter debates over the case. The judge is going to make a ruling and everybody's going to hear from the big dog, which is the judge, and he'll let everybody know what he thinks. And I think that's going to be the end of it. So at this point, I really want to focus on Erika and her horrible track record on all of her bad legal decisions. Right now, she's 0-4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm going to switch gears here and move into Jen Shah. When her case was first exposed, it was obvious public opinion that she's guilty, and it looks like she was the top of the food chain. I have since fallen and hit in my head, and for some reason have started to really like Jen Shah. Is there any chance, Ronald, that she won't get any jail time?
Well, she asked, I think the better question is there any chance that she'll win her case?
Okay, yeah.
Because if she wins her case, she will definitely not get any jail time.
Right.
If she loses her case, there is zero chance she will get no jail time.
Zero?
Zero.
Oh, wow.
She will. I will resign from the practice of law if Jen Shah is convicted and gets zero jail time. That's zero. One of your readers, by the way, our viewers asked, do I know Erika and Tom? No, I've never met them ever as a lawyer. So all my comments are objective from just reading documents. Since I've commented, I get a lot of trolling, but I don't put it all out there just because I figured some things it's better to just, if someone sends you a DM or a comment, I don't like to blast them out because I like that they comment and I like to comment back, and I find it funny, some of the comments.
Yeah, they get out there, don't they?
I mean, I just think it's funny when you're talking about someone and then they write you and they want to argue with you, but through the internet. I just think it's funny sometimes. I mean, just on a side note, in the Avenatti trial that nobody cares about today, they asked a lawyer from LA who introduced Avenatti to Stormy Daniels, have you been following any social media? And out of the blue, he says, just Ronald Richards' Twitter page. I thought that was funny. And I got my phone was blowing up. I was in court. They're like, you just got into the Avenatti trial. So I thought that was funny. I'm blocked by Avenatti on Twitter, and I never met him except watching him in court when he was being prosecuted. But again, just some of these people attract me because I like to out them because of their nefarious behavior.
Avenatti had such potential. We'll talk about.
Yeah, but Jen Shah, look, she's naive, and I just think that she doesn't understand a telemarketing case. I mean, the jury is going to hear from all these fraudsters and crooks, and don't forget her assistant, and they're all going to say who they were working for. I mean, I'm not seeing the defense except to say that everybody's looking for a key to the jailhouse at her expense, but she's not very good.
Ronald, she just collected the information, right?
Yeah.
And then sold it to the other people. How come she's not the middleman? I don't want her to go to jail. It's not looking good. How come? You know what I mean?
She is. I mean, Sharrell in the Hulu documentary. Ironically, they kept me in as the defense counsel. I mean, she has a defense. It's just that her assistant is gonna. I mean, she hid companies. Like, there's circumstantial evidence that she knew that these leads were going to exploit old people that were vulnerable for these work-at-home schemes. I mean, there's testimonial evidence of co-conspirators that were involved in the scheme that that are going to say she was in on it. I mean, again, there's not going to be an email that says I was defrauding old people. If that's how you win criminal cases, nobody would ever get convicted. The standard would be impossible to meet. But there's a lot of evidence against Jen Shah, and it's not like she's being prosecuted by a small town district attorney. She's being prosecuted by like a combination of the New York Yankees, the 1982 Lakers, the Boston Celtics. I mean, she's got like people that work night and day that are like, this is their career case. I mean, that's the problem. And then her lawyer is a solo from New Jersey, from a small office, I believe, in New Jersey, that just does not have the resources to compete. I mean, that's a problem. You know, like anybody could say I do criminal defense, but what is your training? I mean, I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I'd be scared to defend Jen Shah because I know I'm up against two young lawyers that are going to work, 19-hour days to pulverize my client. And no matter what motion I file, they're going to file a response that's really good. And then the judges see them every day. They don't see some guy from Beverly Hills, So that's the issue. I mean, the deck is very stacked in that case. You have to understand they don't just indict people because it's a marginal case. They indict people because they have the evidence. Just like Stormy's case, the lawyer stole her money. She didn't know that he was spending the book advance. I mean, that's a good case. No matter how much he spins it, Avenatti tries to spin it in this trial. At the end of the day, there's no consent to spend the book money. I mean, I tweeted about this earlier with the retainer agreement and everything. So these cases, I mean, they put the screws to her and got her assistant. I mean, I don't have an assistant because I like lawyers to do stuff for me, but and I'm very careful. I always, as a joking way, I always think anybody that works for me is going to be the next cooperator. So I'm really nice to people that work for me and try not to get personal with them because I'm so paranoid from my professional career. But imagine the Stuart Smith who's going to say, yeah, I put in all these Wyoming companies. We wanted to keep Jen's name off the radar. I had all these meetings with her. I mean, that's an insider. I mean, that's an inside person. That's like Freddie testifying against you, Sharrell.
Well, here's my thing. How does Jen Shah get the most time when the people that actually defrauded the seniors don't get the most time?
Well, no.
I'm grasping at
Everybody
straws.
pled to horrible pleas. All those other people that pled out and are cooperating, they pled out to 15-year sentences before departure motions.
Oh, they did.
So no, they didn't cut any breaks to anybody. Those are heavy, heavy pleas. Stuart Smith pled to serious charges. The only way he's going to get a lower sentence is by testifying truthfully. If he lies, he's going to do over a decade.
Because he said he knowingly sold this information to people and knew that it added no value. So he ratted Jen Shah out from the beginning. But I think in regards to that, Ronald, what do you think Jen Shah could argue? Because Stuart Smith, I believe, got a trial on March the 3rd where he'll probably give more information. When Jen's comes up on the 22nd, what can Jen do to argue against?
I think
Stuart?
he said nothing.
Well, you got me confused, Freddie. Stuart Smith pled guilty already.
He did.
Yes. But wasn't there a case coming up on March the 3rd or something? I believe there was another case for Stuart that was coming up just the same month Jen's is.
No. Stuart has resolved all of his charges. His sentencing will get continued until after Jen Shah's trial.
Oh, I understood or had read that I knew that he'd done his plea and stuff, but there was sort of another trial with him before Jen.
No. Stuart Smith I was at his change of plea. I actually live tweeted it. I got a lot of response from that change of plea. He pled to a very serious plea agreement that, of course, is not publicly on the docket because it has a cooperation provision. So if he changes his mind, he's going away for 14 to 15 years. I mean, he also pled to lying. I mean, and serious wire fraud. So the government, what they do is they say to the jury, look, we're not going to get, church people and Rhodes scholars to come testify in a fraud case. We have to enlist the fraudsters. So that's why everybody that testifies has pled guilty, because we have to go to the people that were involved in the crime. And they know if they lie, they lose their departure motion. So we never tell them to lie. We just tell them to tell the truth. So like that's why I think Jen is naive that Stewart is going to be a credible witness. What is his motive to snitch and then fabricate all the... I mean, it's easier to go to trial and not testify than to go to trial with a cooperation agreement with 15 years hanging over your head, and then you're going to lie. They're going to catch you in the lie. The government's going to catch you. The defense is going to catch you. I mean, it's better not to do this. So that's why I'm not saying that I know that Stuart Smith is going to tell the truth, but the fact is that the government will take everything he's told them. Don't forget, they have 6 months for whatever he verbally told them. They'll back it up with documents, in emails, in texts. So they'll keep bolstering his credibility with stuff you can't argue with, like text message, emails. And Jen just doesn't understand like the tsunami that comes when she's just sitting there. Like, I love when I go to trial with a client that doesn't listen to me and he's busy looking in the government exhibit book for the answer. And I always say, no, the answer's not in that book. Everything in that book is bad. And Jen just thinks she wants a quick trial. Okay, I get it. But she's never conveyed the defense. If the defense is that I didn't know that these leads were going to people, that is not a good defense when you see the lineup of witnesses that are coming against you. That's not going to... Knowledge is not going to win the case. Lack of knowledge, okay? Because there's instructions called willful blindness. And then her conduct is not someone that was acting like someone that didn't know what was going on was illegal, because she was hiding all the companies. That's hard to get out of those type of things. Like with Avenatti in his trial today, he's saying, I did all this work for Stormy and I'm allowed to get reasonable fees. Of course, but you got to sue her for it, or she has to agree to it.
Gotcha.
You can't just steal her money and say, I decided to adjudicate it on my own. That's what his defense is.
So now that I'm forced to accept the inevitable, that Jen Shah is
likely to be...
I know you can't say for certain. What is the sentence that she's facing, and what do you think she'll get? I think
she's going to get 168 months.
Jen Shah, 168 months. And
yeah.
Then what would
look, if she gets on the stand and everybody believes her that she didn't know, and she can corroborate it, then maybe 3 jurors that watch The Housewives will vote not guilty, and they'll get a hung jury. I mean, there's always a chance. I represented a plumber once who picked up 300,000 hits of ecstasy at the airport, and when the girl was going to the car with him that picked him up, the wire broke, like the recorder broke, and I just told the jury, we're going to convict someone because customs doesn't know how to change the batteries. I mean, we're really going to take a chance that she didn't lie. My client's a plumber, and they acquitted him, in 1 hour, because they're like, the customs should know how to work. The U.S. government should know how to work a tape recorder. I mean, we're not going to, what ends if he's right? He could be right. I didn't have my client testify, which is always good, because then the jury will never not like them because they didn't hear from them. But I'm saying you could always win a case. It's not like it's impossible, but it's next to impossible in the Southern District of New York. Like it's kind of like you could win the lottery, but how many people think they're going to win it when they buy a ticket?
So obviously, Stewart's been found guilty. He obviously admitted that in his plea. But that deal of the plea is he's got to work with the sort of the prosecution. So how long do we think that's going to be taking, or how long it will take in total for him to be working with these people?
Well, he's been working with them this whole time for months. So you mean he just has to show up and now testify truthfully at trial?
But sort of how much longer do you think he will have to cooperate with them?
Until the trial's over. There's only 2 people going to trial.
All right, Ronald. Thank you.
2 people that live close to the sun, that are flying close to the edge. I mean, I just think Jen Shah's naive. I kind of like her this season too, Sharrell. I'm feeling a little bad that I have to be truthful with her. I mean, I honestly feel bad because I think that she just doesn't get it, and I don't know why someone doesn't teach her the facts of what really could happen. But I mean, the old people that got defrauded, I don't feel good that happened to them. So I think that if it's true, I mean, we know it's true in Stewart's mind because he pled guilty.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt in my mind that Stewart did it because he said he did it. And, the judge asked him 100 times, does anyone threaten you to do this? I mean, we know that he probably realizes they made a mistake. But, I mean, Jen Shah never had a lot of money. They sold their house 2 or 3 years ago and they were renting. So she's been trying to keep up with the Joneses on the show like a lot of the housewives do because they're more addicted to the TV show than they are to their moral compass. As you guys know,
that's true.
They're completely addicted to being on these shows, and they should start a support group like how the NFL has medical afterward. They really should provide mandatory psychological counseling for all the housewives so they can control their spending once they get off the show, and while they're on the show, they should have to do a financial checkup so they don't go into hawk and commit these crimes. I mean, I feel bad for the housewives that the addiction of TV clouds their judgment. I mean, I don't know why most of us live in the world that when we walk by Van Cleef and Arpels or Neiman Marcus and we can't afford something, we just keep walking. Right? I walk by stores all the time because I know I can't pay for it. Like, why is that a big deal? It's America. If I want to pay for it, I'll save up and give myself a treat. But I let clients buy me nice ties, so I never have to buy ties too often.
Oh, you're lucky.
Yeah. That's the one thing I don't have to pay for, I will admit. I get a lot of ties. However, I just don't understand the drive to scam people because you're on a show and you perpetuate these issues. Like with Erika, Sharrell, like if you know that your husband now defrauded a client by faking the cost and the tracing is really clear, wouldn't most people say, okay, I don't care about the statute of limitations. Why do I want something bought with blood money?
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, whether you have a legal defense, that doesn't mean and oh, by the way, I loved everybody was yesterday. She's not been convicted. So why would Bravo do anything? And I want to explain that to the viewers. How many people see people get fired from companies because they do an internal sexual harassment or theft investigation? Do you think they wait for a court case? No.
I know.
I mean, never. People get fired all the time. So all I was suggesting is, and I didn't mention any names, if Bravo's so concerned about things all of a sudden, why don't they just do an investigation? Hire myself or other lawyers to investigate that know the facts, and we go and interview Erika hey,
That'd be great.
we get the evidence, and then we make a report.
Yeah. They're never
Right?
going to do that. Yeah.
No, but I mean, that happens all the time. You see companies hire private attorneys to do the investigation. This happens every day. And then we make a report, and then the company acts on the report. But that's what I was saying yesterday to people online. We don't need to wait for Bravo to determine whether they have, hucksters and shysters and crooks working for them, or people that are just nice people overextending themselves. If they don't care, that's up to them. But at some point, I've always said there's a moral responsibility to the public, because they put out a product that weaponizes these housewives to become dishonest with third parties because of their desire to be on that show. They love the show.
Yeah.
Like my friend Gloria Allred has never met a camera she doesn't like. Okay. She loves it. She's so good at it. I mean, but she's a lawyer. But the housewives, they're getting paid real money. So I think you're putting this product out where you keep forcing them to give you new material.
Yeah.
And so that's the problem. There should be some level of protection to the public. Give the public a little love. Help these people out.
Yeah. They're not going to do it, though.
Whereas some of us are trying to botch our faces up with dodgy liquids for Botox.
Oh, Freddie. Okay.
And the last thing I do want to tell people, because I get this question, honestly, all the time, why do you post about Erika? Or I post about, first of all, the things I want to post about, because it's my Twitter page.
There you go.
Are you guys getting the court documents? Do you know what cases to look at? Do you know how to download them and read them in 10 seconds and digest them and get them out? Of course not. So it's just like I could read a case in 45 seconds. It would take some people 2 hours. I mean, so I'm just helping everybody out to get this stuff out there so we could talk about it. It's important. So that's the only reason why I do it.
Please, Ronald, do not listen to those people. You have people like me that need you to explain this to me.
Yeah,
I really do. So
no,
I appreciate
I've
it.
taught students at UCLA, law students, lecturers. I like to teach and discuss. And so the Twitter's just fast. So people say, why do I do it? Because I can get an issue out in 45 seconds to 35,000 people in every media contact I know. And then if someone wants to call me, they'll call me. I mean, it's just for fun. There's no other reason. It's academically stimulating because I'll get good questions, and then it helps me understand some of the issues. Because don't forget, I get a lot of lawyers emailing saying, "Oh my God, I saw that post. Did you think about this?" Or "I can't believe this lawyer did this. What a bad maneuver." And then I could talk to a colleague that I haven't talked to in 2 months because they'll see my Twitter page, or a non-lawyer that I'm friends with. It'll invite a conversation because that's the only reason why I do it. It's interesting.
And just in case TMZ hasn't thanked you yet, I'll do it for them. Thank you.
It's funny because they posted on Abby in a Joe Francis thing, which my thing on HBO should be coming out any month now. Oh. And I had to write them during the holiday. It was a slow news day, and say, hey, you need to get our side of the story in, and they put it up right away.
Did you really?
Yeah, it's on there. I was on the phone with their general counsel saying, how do you rip out a story saying my client kidnapped her kids without calling me? So they fixed it to their credit right away.
That's so cool.
So that's where we're at. All right, well, look, we'll keep it plugging away. We'll see what happens. And there's a lot of interesting stuff. We have the Avenatti verdict will come out next week. And we got the Jen Shah. Yeah, that trial, that judge is running a tight ship. It's going to be fast. Stormy's on the stand right now.
I'll keep my eye out for that then.
Yeah, and Avenatti's representing himself again, asking his stock questions. And he does a good job. I will tell you, he does a good job as his own lawyer. But the judge is really not playing around. It's not California. It's New York. So it's much tougher. So I've been there. And so that's what we're dealing with. So and then we have the Jen Shah. Well, there'll be a lot of maneuvering in the next 30 days that are going to come out. And then
thank you for helping me come to terms with Jen. I was in denial.
I mean, I don't know what else to do. I hope she gets some smart pills soon, or some realistic pills. She's got to get off the ether. I mean, Freddie, in the history of my career, I've never seen someone spend all their time on a reality show and at the same time saying, I want my trial immediately. What do you think happens? They have balloons and candy when you get to that courtroom. It's the temple of doom. I mean, you walk in and you have to, they take your phone away. You have to do a COVID test. You have to take a QR code. You have to wear a mask. Why are you rushing to your trial? You think the jurors are going to be happy? They're going to want to crucify you.
Ignored every advice. Most people tell you push it back, but oh no, you want to go
delay. That is the best legal advice I could give any criminal defendant who's on bond. If you're on bond, delay. Like, I don't know who wants to rush to trial. I mean, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Do you think it's fun in there?
Oh, Jen, she doesn't know, Ronald.
But that's what I don't understand. Does she think they're going to have cameras following her into the courtroom? Yeah, she's going to have to sit there like a plotted plant. You understand? The defendant gets to do nothing in a criminal trial, but sit there and try to have a fake smile and look like they're paying attention.
I love you, Ronald. You're the best. Do not listen to the naysayers. You keep that Twitter account going. I love it. I can't live without it.
It's growing. And I'm realizing housewives
feel better. I'll keep it on another few weeks.
Yeah. Okay, you'll come back and keep updating us, would you please?
Whenever you want. I mean, come on, I come right on.
You do. Thank you so much, Ronald. I appreciate everything. This was great. This was fun.
See you later.
Yeah.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Oh my God.
He is the best.
He is
Ronald Richards is the best. And he's got a good personality.
Even housewives, I've noticed, are following his Twitter. Even
everybody's following it.
Like Meredith, I Can't Move My Mouth, Marks follows it.
Meredith, Jen Shah probably follows it. I mean, she's cool. I wanted her to stay out, but now I have to come to terms. Bye-bye, Jen. We love you, though.
We like you for calling out Jenny Wen, but there's too much evidence against you, and with the Stewart saying he knowingly.
Be gentle, she watches. Be gentle.
I do like Jen. I like Jen, though.
We love Jen, but Jen.
I do have to face the reality, sadly, with you, Jen.
Oh my God, I feel so bad.
But I like Jen.
I love you. I know you're a great girl. You're a great human being. I'm still going to follow the free Jen Shah movement, but we just spoke to a real attorney with the long I'm sorry, Jen. I'm sorry. It looks good. Sharrell, watch you every day. Just adore you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That was great. I'm out of time, Freddie. I know we were supposed to talk about Jenny Nguyen, but I'll be back at 2:30 with Diva in the gang, and we'll talk about it then. Okay.
Sounds brilliant. Well,
this was great. This was great. Wasn't this great? I love attorneys with personality. I love him. He's the best. He is the best. All right, you guys. We will be back at our scheduled time, which will be 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Until next time. Bye for now.